Okay, everyone, I want to welcome our final speaker of our virtual pop-up, our keynote speaker, and TCU's member of our board of advisory, Miss Sabrina Newby, who is the president of Buy Local, or of no, she is the president, I'm sorry, of the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber of Commerce. And I want to thank you so much for, sharing this space with us and talking to us about
Oh,
all the things.
you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, do you want to just do a deep dive into purpose and finding your purpose?
Let's deep dive.
All
I'm
right.
always ready to deep dive. I'm always ready to deep dive. So let's see. Let's start off where with how I got here.
Yep.
As I was just explaining, we landed on Liberty County Rock by way of the military, and that was in 2001. And since then, we've made it home. Um, for that bit of time, I worked for the DoD. I worked for the DoDs. I started working in 1998, and I just kind of like transferred right into continuously working here on Fort Stewart. So, one thing that I came to realize very early is that I was good at what I was doing. I just didn't know what I was doing, if that makes sense. So I remember, I had mentors. My first mentor was over in Germany, and she was just very tall, blonde esque, sort of Bridget Kelly type of uh, looking lady. And she was very stern. And, she told me, she said, "You have a gift." She said, "You have a gift of making people do things that they don't even know that they're wanting to do." I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I'm like thinking, okay, what does that even mean? And then I learned out that one of my other gifts was being able to influence. Basically, that's what she was saying. My gifts was influence and program building. So when I started to work for the military here in 1998, I built those skills. I started to build on those skills to take them with me to my next level, which I didn't know what my next level was going to be, which was going to be an independent level of everything else. So I just kind of like catapulted onto the scene when I got to Fort Stewart. I really became everything that they said that I had in me. I became the influencer. I became the program developer. I became the person that was out front, and I just kind of went from there. And I thought to myself, "Geez, I'm making these people a whole lot of money." And I thought to myself, "Well, if I'm making them a lot of money, imagine what I can do for myself." So I just kind of like went on a journey. And I always tell people I love adventures. And I went on an adventure. And that adventure basically was to find out what my purpose was. And my purpose, what I've learned is purpose is always something that you love, that you just naturally love, but you don't necessarily see it as a gift. And you just kind of flow with it. Whatever you're really good at, that is your purpose, and you're supposed to expand that purpose out into the crowd, into others, into whatever you're doing. And that's how you grow. That's how you build on it. And I did. I was creative. I was great at building. I was great at developing. I was great at influencing. So I created a brand for myself, which was Bougie Natural. And I was marketing before people were marketing. I started on MySpace. I'm telling you, I'm telling my age. I started marketing, and people were like, "What are you doing? You're on this thing every day." But in reality, I didn't know why I was on there every day. I just knew I had to be on there every day. So MySpace took me to Facebook. And then you get the people that were saying, "You're on Facebook all the time." I think I was the first person to pitch a product on Facebook within the people that I knew. And it grew. My little brand that I started right here in my house um, helped me to evolve into having 4 stores, and it helped me to evolve into an international brand. And we just kind of went from there in regards to me being my own boss.
Right.
So it was pretty fun and pretty interesting. Wonderful, wonderful.
And so, being this superwoman that you are, and having these stores and having your hair care line and your product and your brand, what do you say to someone who is navigating finding their purpose, who doesn't know how to even begin to think of, like, what am I supposed to contribute to this world? Like, what is your advice for that?
That is the perfect question. And here's the thing, and I will be quite honest. I have asked myself that question my entire life since I was a little girl. Um, I think it has to be a part of your nature to want to find out what your purpose is. Some of us don't care. And I'm not saying that to be flippant or anything like that or disregarding. It's just really some of us just want to live life. We don't want to know, we don't have want to have that responsibility. But some of us who want to deep dive into life to get everything out of it, we seek out our purpose. We seek out, and it took me years to get there. So, for those of people who are seeking their purpose, I would say surround yourself with people who are very strong minded and very inspirational. You know, my first mentor, outside of my mother and my grandmother, was a woman in Germany, as I mentioned earlier. Her name was Sherry Verstragen. And she was like a wheelhouse, I mean, a powerhouse in Germany. And nobody liked her. Nobody. And for whatever reason, she liked me. And she was like a very, very, very high grade in Germany. And I was a very little grade, but she took me under her wing. And she took me under her wing and she took me to meetings that people like me in that at that time would not have attended. And what I didn't see was she was grooming me. All along, people who didn't like her were saying, "How can you work with her? How can you let her talk to you that way?" How? Because she was very strict. She was a very hammer type personality. But in the end, her influence helped groom the Sabrina factor, as I like to call it. And I think if I would have yielded and I would have basically given in to what those people were saying, don't listen to her, don't work with her, don't, why do you let her talk to you this way? Is because I think if I would have yielded at that time, I would have never gotten here. I do believe she was an influence. So whatever you're surrounding yourself with, you may not like the way it's coming to you, but stay the course. Now, I'm not saying stay with anything that's hurtful or harmful, but anything that is building you up, I would say stay with it, no matter what the naysayers may think, and no matter if you like it or not. That's how you find your purpose.
Awesome. Carmen, do you have any questions? Can you unmute yourself? Okay.
Yes, I was finding it. I was trying to. So I feel like we slightly touched on like what I was going to ask, but I'm asking this to sort of stress the importance of having a mentor. And without those mentors that you speak about, do you think that you would have realized your gifts on your own? Yeah.
No, I don't think I would have on not on my own because each mentor, and I have a lot, and I do believe in mentors. Even at this age, I have a lot of mentors. Um, I think there are people who come into your life to groom you for different situations. And one person just can't do that. I just don't believe one person can do that. There is no know all, be all, do all. However, I do believe by surrounding yourself with people who are so heightened in certain levels, I think you can become that know all, do all, be all for others because you're giving them different strategic approaches because you're consuming those approaches from different people. I don't believe I could have done it all by myself without Sherry. I
Mhm.
don't believe I could have done it all by myself without my mother. I don't believe I could have done it all by myself without my sisters, my grandmother. I have so many mentors. So I'm a culmination of all of them. So yeah, if you have someone that's willing to take you under their wing, and it's very hard to get a great mentor, but if you
Mhm.
have someone who's willing to take you under their wing and say, okay, here, I'm presenting you with this charge. I'm not going to tell you how to build the charge, but I'm going to tap into your mindset to help you get basically garner those ideas to help you get to where you need to go. I say grab hold on to them tight and don't let them go. Keep them on the journey because you're really about to go on an adventure.
So when you define your purpose, when you get those gifts, what do you do then? What do you do with your purpose? Like how do you activate it?
How do you activate it? I think you want to find out, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? My gifts have taken me all around the world, literally. And was my gift to be unleashed on the world in Europe? No, not yet, not at that time. However, at this time, it is because my products are being sold to people in Europe. You see, your gifts are going to make room for you. And it's going to take you wherever you need to go, wherever you're supposed to go. I think a lot of people try to will themselves into certain arenas. And I just think they will themselves. Maybe they're supposed to go there, but maybe they're going too soon. That's why it doesn't last. I think you're supposed to enjoy the ride because along the way there are instructions that are being placed out before you that you have to understand. And then only when you understand that will God, because he's all part of purpose, is going to take you to that next level. But he's not, I don't believe, and for me especially, I don't believe God has taken me to the next level without me understanding exactly where I was, what I had to do to get up out of there, even through pain, through chaos, through whatever the experience was. It was all teaching me so I can go to the next level. So I think you have to just kind of like center yourself and say, I know this is not going to be easy, but this is the road that has been paved for me to go get me to where I need to go to next. So that's basically how you tap into your purpose.
Um when you say that your purpose has led you all over the place, how did you not allow fear or procrastination or naysayers to stop your journey?
Whoo, child. Well, you know what? Um, at in 1995, again, I'm telling my age. I went on a journey. I went on a journey, and when I say journey, all of these journeys are not the same.
And Lonnie said
Um,
self-doubt too.
It's yes, yes, because you have to go on these journeys. When I was a kid, I was on a journey. I was timid, I was afraid, I was quiet, I would not talk to people unless I was talked to. I was that was my journey from childhood to adulthood. Then in 1995, I wanted to find something bigger, something more, something evolving. And I went on a journey to find God. So on my journey, I studied theology for about 3 years, and I came up with one precise idea that I've always incorporated into my life, and that was there's only one thing that God really wants us to do, and that's to love one another as He has loved us. And then I understood the place for fear. Fear is the stepping stone. And the only other fear the real fear that we're supposed to have, I believe, is the fear of God. So everything else is irrelevant. You know, once we fear God, we understand that there is nothing in this life that is fearful. So what you start to do is when people come at you and say, "Girl, what are you doing with the TCU? Girl, I can't, I wouldn't do that. And let me tell you why. They're talking about themselves. They're not talking about you, because the God you know lives inside of you, and you're not afraid of that God. So why are you afraid of what this person is saying? Why is this person able to overshadow your sincere journey with fear? It's just unacceptable. So what I've learned is no one can get in my head. I had to stop that. I took control of my life. I took control of what I hear. Took control of the influencers around me. If people even began to start to talk negatively about me or the journey or where I'm supposed to be, I would just look at them and say thank you, and then I would go on my way. I was centered in my belief in God. And my belief in God, who I believe dwells inside of me, was telling me, girl, you can do this. I got your back. There is nothing that's going to stop you as long as you trust the process. And I always write about trusting the process, because people will get in your head and they will get you to doubt yourself. I don't cave into that. I know Sabrina. I know the potential of Sabrina. I know the unlimited possibilities of Sabrina. And I understand who guides those things, those beliefs. And that belief is something much bigger than myself, much bigger than anybody else I know. So I just keep going with that.
I have another question for you.
Okay.
Um, I have a friend, and this is sort of reminding me. Last week we had a discussion on, how to turn your side hustle into your main, and just thinking about what your purpose or what you're good at. And this friend said, she has a great job. She likes what she does, but she's like, I'm not. She's like, how do you find a side hustle? And I was like, well, you take what you're good at or what you like doing, and you figure out how to monetize that. And she said, I'm not good at anything. And like my jaw like fell on the ground, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, what, so, and I'm sure she's not the only one who feels like that. But when it
Right.
comes to finding your purpose or what you're good at or what you like or what you are supposed to do, and if you feel like you're not good at anything or you don't know that, what is your advice for someone to discover how they can find their purpose or what they like doing to become their purpose?
Well, first, my first question is I would like to see who she surrounds herself with on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Because if you're around people who are speaking negatively into your life, you're going to believe negatively about your life.
Mhm.
And then, secondly, I would suggest to her that she get a mentor. Find someone that's going to speak life into her, because we're all good at something. And I think a lot of people don't understand that we all have this talent. Our hobbies are usually those money makers, the things that we're naturally good at can become money makers.
Yes.
Prime example. Today I had a conference call with a gentleman and who's an educator, and he was saying that he's been put on, their home, and he's looking for he's looking for a different type of income. So instantly I was like, hey, what about this? And we're building something based on an idea that we just came up with, but it's
Mhm.
all his normal talent. Um, who we surround ourselves with matters. Who we speak our ideas into, they matter. Because if you were to tell me that as a friend, I would say, girl, I need you to pull it together right now. And let's focus. What do you like to do? I'm going to give you a list of questions of on what you want to do, what you like to do, and who you like to do it with. That's important. Those are all important things. So, yeah, I would say change your circle. Changing her circle will change her mind. She would be great.
Perfect. I got a phone call to make after this. That's wonderful.
Sabrina, what what experience do you wish that you could do over, or what advice, if you could tell your, younger self who's on the journey, what would you tell yourself that could be helpful to all of us?
I would tell her that, so here's a story.
I like stories, so I got excited.
Here's a story. I grew up in a very poor area of town in Louisiana. My family didn't have very much, and I was what you call, I don't know if you guys call it now, tag or gifted and talented,
Yeah.
but I was in gifted and talented as a child, and I would go to school wearing mixed match clothes and just, what traditionally poor families would try to, cover their kids with just to get them from point A to point B. And I was picked on every day. I mean, every day. And for no reason. So, and I, as a kid, I didn't understand that time. And this wasn't just for 1 year. This was from about fourth grade all the way up to high school. And it affected me. It affected me. It affected every part of me because I didn't understand why these people were coming at me. Why was I so hated? But my older self would tell my younger self is because they see that light in you. And when people see that light in you, they come after it because they want to dim it. They literally want to cover it up, and because they don't want you to get any more of attention positively that you're getting, so they just want to dump on you, dump on you, dump on you. Now, funny, those same people are basically like, oh, Sabrina, they cheer me on, they encourage me. So I would have to tell my younger self that, you know just beware of your light, because it draws everything. It makes flowers grow, but it also draws the moths. And if enough moths attack the light, it will cover the shine. You won't shine. And that's what I did. I stopped shining, but then I grew. That light just bloomed, opened up again when I became an adult. So I would say stay the course, understand where I was. It was that stepping stone to get to where I am. Because I do believe, had I not endured all of the things that I did as a child, I would not be able to handle all of the things that I handled as a businesswoman, as a woman who's out front, as a leader, and as an influencer. I really don't. I think I would have caved into pressure a long time ago, but I have not, and I continue to rise. So that's what I would tell my younger self.
I absolutely love that. We have a viewer, Rodrika. She said, I tell my son this every day. Kids have been on his head every day since the third or fourth grade. I tell him that people see how loved he is. So thank you for that story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, tell them to keep going. Keep going.
Okay, so Lonnie said, what advice would you give to people looking for mentors? How do you find them and what are you looking for?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so I have a quote that it says, a good mentor wants you to be good. A great mentor wants you to be better than them. How do you separate the good from the great? Is because if you are able to take my knowledge and you're able to build on it and you grow, then that's the type of mentor that you would continue to work with. There are some people who, and I've encountered this throughout my life, they will come to you because they're wanting your knowledge. They may be in a higher place. Maybe have more connections. They may have all what you think is what's needed for you to get to that next level. But in reality, they want to feed off of you because again, they feel that light. They see that light. So what you have to do is you have to find a mentor that is willing to, even if they can't give you all of their time, they can get back to you. That's how busy they are. But let me tell you, I will get back to you. And you can't take it personal because they are moving things, moving mountains out of their way to clear their schedule. I have a mentor that is a very high profile mentor. And if I were to say their names, you guys would instantly know who they were. And sometimes I have questions and I will call, I would text and say, can you give me a call, please? Can you give me a call, please? And it may be 2 months. And he'll say, hey, I'm so sorry. I was caught up. What was your question again? And I'm 2 months later, okay, what was the question? So if they're really if they're really wanting to be your mentor, they're going to make provisions for you. They may not be there for you all the time, but if they're providing you the essential information that you need to get to one place to the other, then that's the mentor that you should strive for. And that's not someone that's there all the time. That's not someone that's there for you all the time, but those are the best ones I've learned.
Well, I appreciate you being a mentor to TCU. I really do.
I
I
know, and I
really
know
do.
that I know I'm not able to be there all the time, but nevertheless, I want to see you grow, and I want to see you be greater than me. I really do. Um, I do believe every mentor, every great mentor, believes that their time is going to come and go.
Mhm.
And they also believe that they have to inspire they have to plant the seed. And once they plant the seed, they want that seed to do the same thing, to understand eventually I will expire, but I'm going to plant the seed. That's how we create a legacy, and that's how we honor our ancestors. So I hope I'm planting a seed with you, LB, because I see all of your greatness, and I really hope, and truly pray that you're greater than me, and I do believe that you will be. I do believe that you will be,
Well,
and I
thank
think that's how
I
you find a great mentor.
Yeah. I am honored. I know Brittany said, oh, I wanted to know, because we're talking about purpose and we're talking about being on your journey. What is it? How do you deal with failure, or how do you deal with when things don't go your way? What do you do to pick yourself back up and dust yourself off?
Oh my goodness, let me tell you, I don't deal with failure at all. Not very well. Not very well. I don't deal with failure. And one of my gifts is being able to work around potholes. So if a roadblock comes up, I'm going to figure out how to get around it. So I can't say I've ever met failure face on. Um, I've met some blocks that have slowed me down until I've learned to work the paradigm.
Mhm.
But once I learn to work around it, I shift. So I can't say that I've ever met failure. Everything I have said that I was going to do, I have done. And everything that I continue to say that I'm going to do, I will do. So I don't believe in failure. Failure is just a state of mind.
I love that. I love that because people always talk about, oh, you have to accept failure, you have to accept failure. Well, if you don't identify with anything being failure, then you never fail at all.
Right. I know. Girl, I may get in there, and I love cabbage. I might get in there and burn out a whole bunch of cabbage. That may be the best cabbage in my life. Some people don't. I mean, what is failure? Failure is whatever you make it. It can be a killer, it can be a motivator, and it can be one that catapults you into a whole nother level. So it's how you identify with it. And I don't identify with it as being a negative thing.
Awesome. Does anyone, I want to take this time to open questions or comments to our audience. Carmen, do you have any other questions that you want to ask?
I did not. I felt like I have just gotten so much. I need to reflect. Like, this is everything that you have said. I was like, yep, been there. Like, it's just identifying, and it's nice to be reassured that yes, we need to trust it. Like every single thing that you've said, I'm just like, well, it has to be true. So I appreciate hearing your perspective from somebody who is well respected, and we are super happy to have you here. And it just it makes it real and legitimizes, the things that you're saying.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I
Yeah.
just want to say, you girls have really done something dynamic. Um, when LB first told me about what you all were doing with TCU, I instantly connected with the idea. Um, I had thought about, and I told LB, I said, I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying. I know this idea. And she was like, yeah. And she was like, she was laying it out for me. And the first thing I believe when you are laying your idea out to anyone, your baby, your brainchild is, and this goes back to the mentoring, is you don't do it unless they ask for what? You ask for what, LB?
You asked for them to sign a non-disclosure.
Exactly. Exactly. You do nothing because people will take your ideas. And LB trusted me with you guys' baby. And I did not sign, but I wanted to build. So I just saw the vision. I think it's beautiful. And I think you girls are going to do remarkable things. I want to come back here in about 5 years and I want to interview you guys for TCU. Hopefully by that time I'll be retired, but I want to interview you guys for TCU because I think people will really love to hear your story.
Awesome. We have a. I want you to interview us because by
Yes.
that time, hopefully, we can have multiple TCUs, and I could be out somewhere just at Essence, living my best life on somebody else's panel. Lonnie wants to know: can you tell us more about the Coastal Georgia Minority chapter and your vision when you started it?
Who child? Um, the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber started about 6 years ago. And we started under the umbrella of what was then called the Urban Savannah. We were Urban Hinesville. That didn't last very long because there was a conflict. You know, we were in Liberty County, they were in Chatham. So they were like, okay, let's break away, let's do our own thing. So we became Liberty County Minority Chamber. We only had 3 people. And let me tell you, at that time, people were afraid. They were afraid. They thought that there was misinformation, disinformation that went out to the public. They were basically saying we were Black militia, we were Black Lives Matter, which I don't. It was so many things rallied up to scare the people, and the whole point of it being here is we didn't just start in 2015. What we did was I had been doing this in my stores every Friday night. We would, and then I had my stores in 2010, 2012. Every Friday night we would meet in my store and we would host a networking mixer. We didn't even know what it was a mixer at the time. So everyone who was either a politician and an emerging politician or a business owner would come there and we would have wine and cheese and we would have like a spoken word. You get to introduce yourself. You get to do all of this. So my thing was it was always to have something that was to focus on the minority businesses. So when we fully launched and people start to basically weaponize the Liberty County Minority Chamber, I was um, I was bothered, and they wanted to weaponize it in such a way that it would make me commit to basically breaking it down so we wouldn't have it anymore. But it only made pushed me harder. So with that being said, we didn't have an office. We didn't have an office. So on the back of my store, I took a little room and that made it that office. And people slowly started to come in. They started to come in. They wanted what we offered. And the thing is, we didn't want to be like any other chamber. We didn't want to be like the traditional social chambers of commerce. And what I say when I mean that is when I say that is social chambers are networking chambers, they're mixers, they meet all the time, they're either having luncheons or they're having parties or something of the sort. What I've learned over the years when it comes down to minority businesses is we don't need to really hang out and socialize as much. We need information. We need to be able to connect ourselves to the dots and to the resources that's going to help us grow our business. So that's what I built the the Liberty County Minority Chamber on. It is an educational platform where we connect you to the dots that's going to help you grow your business from micro loans to small business loans. We are here to help you, provide you with the necessities to help you continuously grow your business and your bottom line. Because people think that your bottom line and your businesses are the same thing. No, there are people who jump out there and they may have two and three businesses, but they're failing when it comes down to finances. So we teach you how to build them unanimously. And also, we also teach minority businesses how to build a relationship with their dollars. Because one of the things that we don't know, we go out there, we get loans, but we have families who have needs. So we may have, say for instance, I may give you $100,000, but say for instance, your mother, God forbid, may get sick. You may have to take from that pot of money to help your family. Then your business may go kaput. So your business goes kaput. You're not working. That was your only means of finances, and you're now stuck with a bill to help your parents. All of that money goes away. Then you have to use that money to just continue your normal life. How will you pay that money back? We have to reprogram our mindsets just to understand the relationships that we have with money, which is a big issue within the minority community. So with that being said, we focus on growing minority businesses. We focus on growing the minority mindset. That's very important. And we need people to understand, basically you dictate where your business goes, nobody else. Because as I said, this the chamber could have crumbled a long time ago, because I've had threats, i've had um I've had some things happen. But again, one of my gifts is to work around the potholes. So here we are 6 years later. I have an office here in Liberty County. I have an office in Chatham County, and we're getting ready to go into another county. And we're operating within the 14 outlining counties of the coastal Georgia area. The Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber is a tool that you should utilize. And now, does that mean that you should not join a social chamber? Some people need to socially interact. So I would say, no, it doesn't mean that. But if you need information, the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber is where you should start.
I agree. And I want to ask you, piggybacking off of everything that you said, can you explain from your perspective as the director, as the president of the Georgia Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber of Commerce, why is it so important for us and our community, minorities and underrepresented people, to have spaces like TCU, to have spaces like your chamber, and to connect and fellowship with, minorities?
Because we know who we are. We know what we need. We know how to interact with each other. If you're selling a hair product, your hair looks like mine. Who's going to buy from you? If you're making the best collard greens in the world, who's likely to buy those collard greens? If you're making the best pig feet in the world, who's liable to buy those pig feet from you? Who's going to go out into the community and say, Elby makes the best collard greens and pig feet I've ever tasted? We are the inventors of soul food. We understand our plight. I understand Elby. I know her. I see her at church. I go to church with her. She talks to me about her business every day. I want to go see what her business is about. We relate very well to who we are. So if Elby says, girl, I'm having a hard time business wise, Elby looks like me. Let me go rally up some support to support my sister, because that's what I'm going to say. Most times we already have people in place, and we understand that it's very hard to get some people to engage us. But if we engaged our own community, we wouldn't have to beg so much. We wouldn't have to beg so much. We would be able to take care of our own. We're not saying that we don't need a social interaction or the diversity, because I always say diversity pays the bills. But if we had build ourselves up with our own, then I do believe that we as a community overall would do so much more better as a community. So that's why it's really important for us as a minority community. And let me explain that too. I'm moving around because my charger is acting dummy. So you guys just stick with me.
Now
Uh,
we get to have a tour of your lovely home.
I'm like thinking, look, where is my charger? And I'm like thinking, I'm walking you guys around my home. You guys just go with me. Um, One of the things that I've come to understand is this is basically minority. People are offended, especially people of color, when you say um, this is a minority type of in building or company or something to that extent. They are offended. I'm not a minority. I am not a minority. And I'm like thinking, well, you may not be a minority as this year's census may prove. However, you are a minority when it comes to business. And that's going to take a good 30 years before you can change that. And people are like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, that's what we're here to help you explain, because not everything is based on color. Not everything is based um on ethnicity or nationality, but it is based on economy, especially here in the United States, because we're a capitalistic society. So, capitalistically speaking, we have to work amongst our own. And it's no different. Okay, so when other ethnicities come into America and they start to build and they start to build well, I'm like thinking, where is I may get disconnected from you guys because I cannot find my charger, and it's oh no, I found it. So when other ethnicities come into America and they are basically building their families and building their businesses, people always ask, well, how do they do so well here? How do they do so well here? And the thing is, here's why they do well. They do well because
She'll come back on. Is there any other? I know she's I'm like,
It was just getting good. It was
oh,
like,
I know. Hopefully she'll come back on pretty soon. Can she still? I know cliffhanger, right? I was like, yo, what's she about to say? As you can tell, and we'll give her a little bit of space and time to, come back on. But Sabrina is a wealth of knowledge. Sabrina is, she's just dope, and she keeps it real. Um,
Yeah, that was great. I don't know what I was expecting her to say, but I have to say something now. Like, wow, she was about to give it to us, and I'm gonna wait for her to come back.
she is a wealth of knowledge, and she, like I said, she always brings it, and she has a caring heart. And if you need something, she's like, okay, what you need, how I can help you. She is right. You ain't never gonna catch her when you absolutely need her. She gonna get back to you maybe 2-3 weeks later. Okay, you're back. You're muted. You got to take yourself off mute. So hit your phone, and then it should be like a mute button, and you can unmute it. You got to press the red button. Anybody on the phone know how to do it? You know how to unmute yourself. I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself on your phone. You should be able to like press the button, and then it should be a red button, a red microphone. Mm-mm. At the bottom of the screen. Let me text her, you guys. I'm sorry. Please be patient with us because it was getting good. Okay, so if you tap this, there you
Okay.
go.
So yeah, I was pushing the button and it wouldn't let me yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't let me undo it. So I apologize, you guys. Um
You're fine. We left off. Everybody is waiting for you because you're about to give us the tea. You
I
left off at how other ethnicities do it so well.
right. So here's the thing. When other ethnicities come into this country, what they do is they pull their dollars together and they work together and then they spend their dollars amongst each other. And when I say prime example, I have a friend who owns a store. He's Indian. He basically he does everything that he needs here for about 8 months out of the year, and then the other three he'll go back to India. He will spend, he will buy as needed. He takes it back to his family, and he will get what he needs in country, and then he'll come back. The only times that he really spends here in the United States is when he's buying inventory for his stores. So he goes back to his country to get clothes. He goes back to his country to get shoes. He goes back to his country to get everything that he needs. And he had a conversation with me, and he says because we take care of each other. The thing that we have to get into practicing is taking care of one another. Um, Within the last, I would say the last 3 years, it's been a strong um, building of sisterhood amongst Black women. And that's a great thing. If we can just really continue to build on that, then we will start to basically reprogram our minds and we will start to buy from one another. So we won't really need to go outside of our group to purchase unless we selectively do it. Now, do I say not to buy from any other group that does not look like us? No, not at all. But what I am saying is if I know LB makes the best collard greens and pig feet, which I don't eat by the way, but I'm just using it as a metaphor. If she makes the best collard greens and pig feet, why would I go to Long John Silver's and buy something from them when I know LB cooks much better and she's local? She looks like me, and I understand that she basically gives back to the community, not just to the church, but she gives back to the community because I heard that she gave Sister Sarah some money to help get her kids back into school. She really supports the community. A lot of these businesses that we know are that we spend in every day, believe it or not, gives absolutely $0 back into the minority community. And they have money set aside to do that, to do that. But what they do is they give it to other entities that are structured to help under the underserved areas. However, those companies get to choose what's an underserved area. And it may not be an area that looks like ours. So we have to be very mindful of where we're spending our dollars. And this is why the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber is in place, because a lot of these companies we've reached out to, we've asked them, hey, we understand that you have a community relations department. We understand that X amount of dollars is supposed to go back into these underserved areas, these underserved communities. We represent the underserved communities. Can you think of a way that we can partnership? No. Here's a proposal. Here's a sponsorship package. Would you like to? No. Would you like to give monies to this because we're doing something? And I'm going to use an example that we actually did. We were going to take a group of kids from underserved areas to the capital. And we went around to ask, because most kids that are coming from these very underprivileged areas, rural areas, they have never seen places such as the capital. So we asked these companies, would you help us sponsor a trip? They said no. No. Another group came along to which were not underprivileged children. and took their kids to the Capitol, and they had a ton of support. We have to be mindful of where we're spending our dollars. Because if I'm spending my dollars with Elby and I go to Elby and say, hey, I'm taking this group of kids to a place that they may never see again in their childhood, would you support me? Elby would say, yes, because that child looks like me. We have to do better. We have to do better. Diversity pays the bills. However, we can be diverse and we can still work within our community. Was that the T?
That is the T. Is
I
there
have
any?
chills. I have absolute chills. That was phenomenal. It's relatable, which is, I think, your point of this, and people who
Right.
look at you, and because I asked myself, well, why? Like, why? How do I explain this to other people? And you hit it on the nail on the head, or I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but
No,
thank you.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I used to think 20 years ago, I used to say, in 20 years, racism is going to be over. I used to think that. Now I'm saying I'm giving you all the charge. So by the time that you all are my age or older, I'm hoping that racism, classism will be eradicated. But I really hope that it is done within our community, because we have racism within our own community and classism within our own community. So we can't begin to build a village if we're constantly separating the village. We can't do that. So we have to really understand where we are right now, this very moment. And then we have to understand where we want to go. Do you want to go with me? These are questions that we need to ask. This is where I want to go. Do you want to go with me? This is how I'm going to get there. I'm offering you a ride. Would you like to go with me? If they don't want to go, then there's nothing that you can do about that. But for those who you can, build the ark, Noah. Build the ark, and they will come.
I love that because you said that to me the other day and it resonates so well. And I really do hope that I get an opportunity to work with the ladies who have been supporters of TCU and watching you and watching this. If you have any last things that you want to say, Sabrina, right now, let us know. Any last thoughts?
No, well, first of all, I apologize for me and my phone,
No, you're
child. For me and my phone. But I just really, again, I just want to say thank you for having me on. Every time I hear TCU in my head, I want to say TCU, give you guys a college call. Uh,
I
but
love
you know, but I am so thankful for you guys having me on and just let me share a few words of insight with you. And I hope to come back, and I hope to be able to interview you within the next 5 years. By the way, you're going, it may be shorter than that, but I really want people to hear your story, and I want you guys to continue the journey without fear, because you're going to get there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being the director of our advisory board. We couldn't have a better director of our advisory board. And yeah, I appreciate you. So thank
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, girls. Thank you for everyone that tuned in and wanted to say hi. Hello, hello, hello. Brittany, Essential Excellence. I can't see everybody. Lonnie and Rodrigo. Thank you guys for
yes.
tuning in to me.
All right, you guys. I'm about to stop recording, and it will be posted on Facebook in about 30 minutes. So, please share if you like. Please tag us. Please let people know because we're going to continue to do this every Friday.
Every Friday. Whoop, whoop.
Every Friday. All right. All right.
TCU.
TCU.
love it.
All right. Bye, you guys. Awesome.
I'm good. Did it work? Was it good?
Yes, it was great.
Okay, I apologize. I was looking at that darn charger, and
No,
I'm like, where did I put it?
no, it was great. So I can't wait. We're going to post it, and then that is going to be one of the things that we're going to have for our content for our digital space. So I am so excited.
I'm
I think,
excited too. I'm
yeah,
excited too. And you know what I was thinking? Of great because I saw your video for what you guys did for it was really nice. I was thinking about something like Coachella, but Beyonce get if you can get some drums, somebody to play the drums,
yeah,
and like four people. Maybe I don't know if they have a costume, but maybe not. Maybe they can be dressed like black shirts, whatever represents TCU, and then you can get somebody that's your call sign. And it'll be like so TCU, so people can get in the habit of saying it and wanting to be a part of it. That would be a great call sign because people need. I think whenever I hear about the Cultures Union, I think about when I was at Grambling, and I was like, we would go to the union. That's what we called our lobby where everybody hung out, and we would just go out there. So if you make it like a really like an give it an energy,
yeah.
give it an energy. And I think if you just the call sign you already have, so just bring some drums.
Oh, we were thinking about trying to figure out a commercial anyway, so this is gonna be perfect. Like,
Yes, I'm telling you, people were all over will start saying
see, you
TCU.
people gonna start trying to enroll their kids. I'm like, this is not a school.
I know people, but you know what? That's a great way for you to engage the college kids.
Oh, really great way. Yes.
Great way. They'll be coming. They won't even go to Savannah State. Oh, we're going to TC.
You?
That's where they're
uh,
gonna go. That's where they're gonna go.
awesome. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, honey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
you.
And now I have